So your name is Chelsie and you just won $750,000 in Big Brother 26. Well, what are you going to do with the money? Let's talk about it. I'm Nate, I'm FitfutureMD. I help you with your finances. Make sure you go to Ensorsale.com and pick you up a cool inspirational t-shirt today. Use code FitfutureMD for 20% off. Also, you can find my wife's book there, London in the Goo Goo Goo. It's a children's book. It's really awesome. And we're reading a lot of children's books right now with a newborn. So let me tell you, it's a lot better than the rest of them. So check it out. Ensorsale.com, code FitfutureMD for 20% off. So you just won $750,000. What are you going to do with the money? Well, number one, $750,000 does not go as far as it used to go, right? You know, when this show started, 24 plus years ago, or however many years it's been, probably 26, since it's Big Brother 26, right? But, 26 years ago, it was $500,000. $500,000 was a lot of money back then. Well, $750,000 is not a lot of money anymore, right? Thanks to inflation, but we're still going to try to invest this money the best way we can to make it go as far as we can, right? Now, most people want to go, buy a car, buy a house, and then you're out of money, right? And obviously, we don't want to do that, right? But you got to figure out what you want to do. Do you want to be somebody that's active or passive, right? Me personally, I would be active because I would want to be in control of my money, right? I don't want somebody else to control my money. That being said, so this is kind of the strategy, right? So you got $375. Obviously, you're not going to be sleeping in the poorhouse. So you're probably going to set aside $25K, 6-month emergency fund, whatever you want to call it. Spending money, basically. So that leaves you $350,000 to invest. So what's the principle of investing here? So $350,000, the S&P 500 averages 8% a year, okay? And some years you don't make money in the S&P 500. You actually lose money, right? So keep that in mind as well. Like, you can have years where you lose money doing the S&P 500, right? There are years like that. So the one in 2025 is probably coming up. We're due for one, right? But so $350K to invest. You get 8%, right? That's roughly $28,000 a year that is going to produce, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to split that in half. You're going to keep 14 and you're going to reinvest the other 14, all right? Now, if you do this, in 10 years, you will have over $1 million in your account, okay? So you've grown your $350K to $1 million, theoretically. I say, and that's if you made 8% a year. Obviously, there's going to be years that are 20%, 15%, 2%. The whole key to this process is that whatever you do make, you cut it in half. You can live on one and reinvest the other. Now, the years that say you don't make money, say you lose money, then you don't take anything out, right? But I would set it up in a way with dividends that no matter what the stock was doing, so say the stock market was down 20%, but you're still getting paid your 4% dividend, so you would still make something, right? Now, everything would not be in dividend stocks, obviously. I would also be looking for the next big thing to grow my stuff, right? Growth companies, whatever you want to call it. But that's just the simple math, right? 350 is going to give you 28K. And then, so the first year you get the 28K. Then the next year you get 29K. The next year you get 30. Then 31, 34, 38. It starts growing a little higher, right? So like I say, 10 years, you're going to be sitting at over $1 million, and that $1 million is going to give you $80K a year, right? $40K to live on, $40K to reinvest. And there's going to be a threshold where you're like, okay, well, I don't need to, invest all of it, right? So, but to keep your money growing, that's called the 4% rule, right? You only take 4% out, the other, whatever you made, you reinvest it, right? Now, that being said, as an active investor, you're not going to be able to keep up with as many companies as if you were a passive investor, right? Passive, you could go into ETF, like a VTI or VOO, and just have the whole market. Obviously, when you do that, you're not going to make as much money, but you are fully diversified. Now, if you're going to be somebody that's not active, it's a lot better to be diversified, right? If you're not going to be paying attention to your stuff, you're just better to be diversified. But, the people that do this for a living are not diversified. They might have 10 to 20 stocks, right? For their total everything. Now, it does not seem like it's a lot of money to be getting $14,000 a year passively, right? But, that could basically pay for an apartment. That basically could pay for a car. It's not gonna be life-changing money at the start. But you start getting to the 10-year mark from now, then all of a sudden 80K is life-changing money. 100K is life-changing money, right? Right. And you can start actually, really getting into it, right? But the key really is to invest it and let the money grow, right? So if you don't really need the money, go back to your regular job, whatever. You could even move somewhere where the 14K just pays for everything. If you really wanted to. You could go get a little apartment in Mexico or go to the Philippines or wherever and live a lot cheaper lifestyle. And the 14K actually paid for everything, right? So keep that in mind. Obviously, there's going to be some people that say, tithe the church 10%, and that's cool if you want to do that. So that'd be like $37,000, $38,000, something like that. So then you have a little bit less, and the money goes down a little bit, right? So, keep that in mind. I know Chelsie would do that, probably tithe the church. I would personally rather tithe the church, off the 15K every year, but that's just my opinion. Unless they had something that I knew the church really needed, that they were going to put the money to, right? It's not just to pay for the lights and the water. Like, they're going to have to do some kind of outreach program with the money, right? Help people, basically. But this is what I would do with the money, right? I would invest in the stock market. I'm a stock market guy. Obviously, you could leverage it with real estate if you really wanted to. Take 50K and get you a rental property. But I personally would not risk the money with a bunch of debt. That's just my opinion. Now I might risk the 15K with debt, right? So you get the first year 14K, might invest that into a rental property somewhere. But I don't want to risk the money, basically, right? I don't really want to. Not saying that big companies can't go to zero, but it's highly unlikely they go to zero overnight. Only banks do that, apparently. But I'm saying real estate is a lot more active than people think it is, right? So keep that in mind. If I just won $750,000, this is what I would do. You know, I have a list of things that I invest in. If you're interested in that list, comment down below ready, and I'll send it to you for free. You know, these are just what they're called the long-term investments, right? So I would put it and invest it long-term. Okay, so, and here's the last thing, little tidbit that I talked about in the last video. You know, it's called IPOs, or young companies, whatever you want to call them, right? Companies that just went public. I want to go to the time where the insiders can sell their stuff. If the insiders are not selling, then that's the time to buy, right? In my opinion. And so I'm going to research those companies, and probably $1,000 a year. So if we made 14, you know, or made 28, kept 14 out, kept 14 in, 1,000 of that 14 that we're putting back is going to be towards an IPO. It's going to be towards something that can exponentially grow, right? So, you know, in 2021 or whenever, I think it was might have been 2018, 2019, something like a Beyond Meat. You know, obviously I love Helion. I think propane tractor trailers would be a genius idea, because we have plenty, or natural gas tractor trailers would be a genius idea. We have so much natural gas here in this country. Obviously people don't agree with me, but that's okay. And, or currently don't agree with me. It's still early. Company has no debt. So, you know, so I love Helion. And it's cheap. You know, $100, you get 50 shares. That 50 shares could be millions of dollars. That company ever does well. And if it doesn't, you lost $100 that you made, right? That's the key. You reinvested what you made off the money. You're not reinvesting any work, any physical work. And that's the key to growing your account. So I'm Nate, I'm the FitfutureMD. Comment ready if you want my long-term investing list for free. And shop at Ensorsale.com. Pick you up a cool inspirational t-shirt, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.